Rob and Slim
What's
Show.
happening, guys?
What's up?
Kevin Goldberg.
What's happening?
What's up, dude? You are a marketing manager and is it executive in charge for Discover Pods?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know what the titles are, but yeah, staying busy.
Cool, dude. Cool. Discover Pods. What is it?
Sure. Yeah, it's a website basically that recommends, reviews, podcasts, talk about the latest news. Basically, just a podcast fan and a website for other podcast fans.
Are you a big fan of podcasts? Is that how it started?
Yeah, it started basically a group of friends. We have a Slack channel, and we were recommending podcasts to each other. And despite being friends for quite a bit, all these recommendations were brand new. And there was like this light bulb aha moment where I was like, well, why can't I find like new podcasts that I want? The Apple charts are what they are. And I just decided to make a website. It's kind of something I like to do in my spare time.
Cool. What is do you feel like there's a problem with the Apple like top shows?
Yeah, I guess to take a step back, when I first started writing on Discover Pods, my assumption was that the charts didn't change all that much. So
Okay.
the rich were getting richer,
Yes.
basically with new subscriptions and all that.
Yep.
And then as I started doing more research, you start noticing these red flags in the charts. So I wrote probably close to a year ago about one podcast that was probably gaming the charts with a click farm. There's some compelling data that basically alluded to that. And then in the last 3 months or so, a lot has come out about people using shady gray market services to game their numbers and juice their rankings.
Wow.
And there's several articles now that basically there's a handful of podcasts that are very obviously doing it, but they're still in the top 15.
I felt like 1 years ago was one called Guys We Fucked. Like out of the blue, they were a new show, and yeah, they were top of the iTunes charts. I didn't know because I always get the iTunes promoter messaging me on Twitter like I am, with the Fiverr deal. Like we're a big promoter, and we're gonna get you there. But they have 2 followers on Twitter.
Yeah, and they're talking in broken English.
Yes.
My assumption is it's like one person or like a small group of people that just spin up these new Twitter accounts and these new Fiverr accounts, and then they reach out to podcasters offering their services.
Dear sir. I get
was
that a lot.
curious. You mentioned click farming. What is that?
Quick farming.
Sure. Yeah. It was popularized on Silicon Valley and the HBO show, but it's been around for a while. Basically, offshore accounts, usually in Asia. It's basically a farm of people working for pennies that are just clicking over and over repeatedly. So it gained kind of prominence with when online advertising first started to pick up. So these publishers and websites were just getting these huge clicks to rake in more money. Since then, Google and Facebook have shut down, but there's still other use cases. In Silicon Valley, they talk about they have an app or something, and they want to have higher daily active user accounts for their investors or something. But I think it could be used to up your subscription count and game the Apple charts as well.
Okay. I was going to say, too, I saw one of your most recent articles on the site, which I loved. It was addressing that reviews don't really make you more popular. And it's not. It's subs, correct?
Yeah. I mean, in full disclosure, nobody knows the true algorithm outside of Apple.
Wow.
But there's been several tests run. I've run a lot. Rob Walsh of Libsyn has run even more and has kind of reverse engineered the algorithm. But there's none of the tests have any evidence that suggests that reviews or ratings have any precedent on the rankings. It's just new subscriptions over a week period.
Wow. I was going to say, too, you mentioned the guy from Libsyn. Do you communicate with the guys that run these podcast hosting companies?
Yeah, the majority of them, we have some sort of relationship. Them and PR agencies, everybody likes more exposure for their podcasts, so
Cool.
they'll reach out from time to time.
I love that. And I was gonna ask too. SoundCloud, what do you think? Because I remember at one point we used to be on there, and everybody was messaging me like, "Get off of there! They're failing." Like, do you feel like they're gonna be around?
Yeah, I don't really know because what was it, like a year ago or so? There was the dire numbers that said that they were shutting down, and then Chance the Rapper came in and raised a bunch of money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think it's a really valuable service, especially for music artists to be discovered. That's, I think, how Chance like gained his first following. To skip the whole antiquated record deal kind of format. For podcasts, I think it makes more sense to be on a true podcast host.
That was another
Steve
thing
Wilson. Steve Wilson from Apple had this long rant on why you shouldn't use SoundCloud and why you should use a company and a hosting provider that's specifically geared for podcasts.
Yeah. That's another thing I felt when people were messaging me. Yeah, it's not really a podcast site. What were you saying?
I was going to say that's very true because when we went to Podbean and like instantly downloads went up, plays went up, everything.
Yeah, everything was better on there.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, I mean, SoundCloud at the core essence just holds audio files. And there's so much more into podcasting with RSS feeds and meta tags and data and all that make your stream more optimized for podcast players. And just SoundCloud isn't built for that.
That's it. I think they were like one of the last to even have the RSS feed, as far as all that.
Yeah.
What
that makes sense.
Kevin, I wanted to ask you about the 2018 Discover Pod Awards. Is it the first year or is it the second, or how long has that been going on?
Yeah, this is the second year.
Cool.
So last year, God, I wish I had the numbers in front of me. I think we had something like 7,000 votes or nominations. So right now the nominations are open. Everybody can nominate your favorite podcast. I'm not gonna campaign for you guys, but if your listeners want to hop on and nominate, we're at I think 4,000 nominations, 2,000 different podcasts.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
And the nominations are open for about another week or so.
Okay, that's what I thought.
26.
I thought till about the end of the month. That's cool. And is the competition fierce, like as far as like last year went?
Yeah, we saw. Speaking of click farms and gaming the system, we have some contingencies in place, but last year we saw definitely some ballot stuffers. And in terms of ferocity of the election or the voting, it was. I mean, you saw when the finalists are announced, most of the finalists were campaigning pretty hard on their behalf, using their social platforms and talking about it on their podcasts. So it was cool to see. I mean, to be honest, there are other podcast awards out there, but a lot are pay to play, which is really discouraging.
Yes, I've looked into a few of them, and like $300. I looked into a few of those, and like $300 or more is just not worth it. It's not worth it. We were in one. What was it last year, Slim? It was like Podern Family does a Podern Madness thing, which is like a March Madness thing for podcasts, and we saw that in a couple of them. Yeah, people were obviously buying votes because some shows had, they didn't have the following other shows did, but they were killing in votes. Like it was, it was rough. It was rough to watch some of it.
And it would be like overnight, you would see them go from like 0 to like
2 votes to like 3,000. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. I didn't create the site to make money. I have a day job like most podcasters out there.
Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of discouraging to see publishers and media outlets do like you have to pay $200 or whatever to be nominated.
Yeah, I think I looked into the Webbies.
It's free. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, I looked into the Webbies a year or two ago, and it was ridiculous the amount of money it took to just be in it. It was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Kevin, do you have a podcast?
I do not. I hop on podcasts from time to time, but no, I don't have enough time in the day to manage a successful one.
If you could do one, what would it be about?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I don't know. I think I'm a pretty basic person. I like sports, Game of Thrones, reading, whiskey, beer.
Nice.
That's kind of what I like. And if I created a podcast about those things, it'd be one of like, I don't know, 10,000.
I love those things. What who do you love in Game of Thrones? Who's your favorite character?
From the books and the show a little bit, Jamie Lannister is the most interesting.
Great. He is great.
Yeah, it's just his like character arc from being the devilish Prince Charming that tried to kill a kid to a redemption story. It's
Just
cool.
his whole progression. Yeah, like I love it. I love it. He is amazing. I can't wait for the next season, the last season. It's gonna be so good. So
Yeah.
good. And I love
for sure.
I love Arya from the first episode. I'm like, she's special. Like, I don't know. I just loved her from the beginning.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Yeah. Yes. I was gonna ask too. As far as marketing, what goes on in the everyday life of a marketing manager?
It kind of changes. I mean, marketing, I'm in the tech world. I work for a tech company. So at the core of it, the marketing's job is just to get leads and pass them over to sales that are qualified. So any and all avenues that do that. I work on the content side. So it makes sense where I can create websites and create content that people want to consume. And that's kind of what I do on a everyday basis. I know that sounds super vague and incredibly boring.
No, I just when I like first saw it, I'm like, that could be anything. Like there could be some crazy day where you're just fucking firing people, or you're just dealing with some crazy shit.
Not usually. Yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to think of the comparable idea is like when you think back to your last like decent purchase, whether it was like a TV or a camera or a computer or something like that. You went online and you did research and, you looked at reviews and things like that. Nowadays, when people are buying technology software, they're doing the same thing. So by the time they talk to a salesman or go into Best Buy or whatever it is, they're already about 80-90% of the way there. They just want to get their hands on it. And the same is true in the tech world.
Okay. What is the next big thing going to be like this holiday season in the tech world?
Oh, consumer electronic wise?
Yes.
Ooh, I don't know. I work on the enterprise business to business side, so I'm the wrong person.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my wife just got a new iPhone, and that's really cool. So
The
sure
X.
those will be selling like hotcakes still.
You think there's going to be an iPlane?
Oh, yes. Did you hear about the iPlane, Kevin? Kanye.
I did not.
Kanye met with our president, and he said they got to replace Air Force One with an iPlane, and Apple was like, we don't make planes.
Yeah, I don't know what Kanye is doing lately, but his mind is
Being
way
Kanye.
far out there.
His mind is way out. It's been there. I said that years ago. Like, he's just kind of out of his mind.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, College Dropout came out in like 04, 05, somewhere around there, and I was getting my first car, and so I had that CD just on repeat. And so I've been a Kanye fan like my whole adult life.
Musically,
and
he's
then,
amazing, and then he just
musically. But after like Twisted Fantasy, it came Yeezus and then Pablo, and it's just been like progressively worse.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on. Maybe the Kardashians or the fashion stuff, or he's just getting a little bit crazier. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's just letting it all fly. I think so. As far as going back to podcasts, what is the most I guess genuine thing you could do to grow your show?
I mean, what I tell everybody, and it sounds simple, but it's actually pretty hard, is just create really good content. There's podcasts out there that you wouldn't think have a following because they're really niche and really nerdy about something really specific, but are really thriving. So create a good content and people will come to it eventually. There are ways that you can, market your podcast a little bit better. There's cross promotions. There's stuff you can do on Facebook, cultivate a community that helps spread the word. Those are the main things, but really it's persistence and creating good quality. content.
Yeah, like I found that just on our YouTube. Like we have some great interviews like this one or plenty of others, but Bare Bottom Spanking has 50,000 views. Like it's just Slim spanking one of our interns like cuz my computer wasn't working and I'm like spank him and yeah, that video's got 20,000 views, but some interviews have like 20. Like it's like wow. Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's still a good following. There's people that are just starting out that are getting, teens and maybe low hundreds, and it's tough definitely at the start. But what I tell everybody is marketing. All marketing is like a magnifying glass for your podcast. It'll get more eyeballs there, but if your podcast is boring or it's just not compelling, nobody's going to stick around, especially with. I don't know what the number is, like 500,000 podcasts or something out there. It's like, I don't want to waste my time on something that I don't enjoy.
What has been one of the, what's been a podcast you've come across that you didn't think you would like, but you ended up loving?
Spot. I think audio dramas, I'm just surprised how much I've liked the ones I've been introduced. To me, they seem like nerdy old-timey radio where they're like telling stories, but there's been some really good audio drama podcasts, the Bright Sessions, the Big Loop, Limetown, those three. When I listen to them I was floored. It's crazy that this content is free, and it's no surprise that they're all getting like movie and TV and book deals.
That's awesome. What do you feel about like Patreon too, like extra episodes and all? Do you feel like we have a Patreon, but we haven't really messed around with like that. It's just a lot of extra work. Like, do you feel like that's something shows should pursue?
Yeah, I mean, whatever podcasters can do to make money, I'll support. Because as a podcast listener, I get to consume all this content for free. If there's a Patreon and I know it's a truly indie podcast, I'll contribute and become a donor or a patron. But most podcasts don't get ads. Most podcasts aren't like Bill Simmons that have like multi-million-dollar deals. They're people in their basement or have, rigged up a microphone, sound audio in their closet. That's the majority of podcasters out there. So if they can make, 50, 100, $200 a month on Patreon, then I'm definitely in support of that.
Cool.
What's up with you guys? Talking about me.
We're fifth season. We're in our big five. We I don't even know. We're doing good, Kevin, as far as it goes.
Good.
As far as it goes,
Good.
But just like I said with just asking about like making the money, that's the big thing, which I don't even know if that's possible at this point. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's so tough, and because Apple's slow rolling their analytics, right now the ads that you'll hear are all direct response. Right, you have like Blue Apron and Casper where you'll hear an ad that will say, go to this URL / and it'll be like the podcast name. So for a advertiser, for a marketer, it's really easy to see the return on investment of that deal, right? How many people came and bought and what did we spend? But the big money is in brand advertising. Think about a Super Bowl ad. They're not direct response. There's no vanity URL for somebody to click through. They're just saying like, drink this beer and it'll make you cool. The brands and brand marketing is where the true money's at. And right now brand marketers aren't willing to buy ads because they can't see the analytics to see if they're being listened to and how much. There's data out there that, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking like the analytics are so vague. Like iTunes not too long ago like released analytics, and like I think I went on it once and I'm just like I don't even know. I don't even know what this is saying. Like it's rough.
Yeah, it's crazy that we're not there yet, especially in this day and age. Like if you buy an ad on Google or Facebook, they'll tell you everything about who's seeing your ads. right? It's creepy. They'll tell you, if they're married or divorced, their age, where they live, who they voted for, their kids' names, like the creepiest things.
Yes.
And podcasts, they can't even tell you if somebody even listened to it or not.
Yeah,
So
I know.
it's nuts how far away we are.
Just going back to SoundCloud, like just the the amount of analytics that were different from there to Podbean, it's staggering. Like how SoundCloud will tell you cities and all that. Yeah, Podbean is just telling you countries, and downloads are just totally different, and listens are different. It's just different. It's weird.
It's very odd because radio figured it out early, right? Like if you're on a radio
TV,
station, they know.
They
TV,
have the
yeah,
Nielsen ratings. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why. I don't. The issue is Apple and Google and Amazon's not there yet. But the big tech companies need to lead the way.
Once they get on the same page.
They're dragging their feet.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like somebody's cutting some deals. Like some of the bigger guys are like, no, we can't let.
We got
these smaller
this family
guys.
in Taiwan that's doing it all for us.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about podcasts, like to start out with, like the name podcast exists because of the iPod, right? So Apple was the first with the native app on the iPhone. So it's no surprise that iOS users far outweigh Android users in podcast listening. But if Apple wanted to, they could have dominated this market if they just spent any type of effort into improving their app or really growing the business. They've just done the bare minimum.
I heard too somebody recently say that I think it's iTunes that doesn't want you numbering your episodes anymore. Like I've never gotten anything like that, but I heard on Married as Fuck they said that one of their friends that's a podcaster got an email that said they don't want the episodes numbered anymore.
Why?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. They'll do weird ticky-tack things like that. And you can't call them iTunes anymore. You got to call it Apple Podcasts. So
yes.
I don't know. They're focusing on the wrong things, in my opinion.
They got to work on that plane. They got to work on the iPlane. That's all I know.
I mean, people have been talking about a TV forever. That's why it's crazy that Kanye is talking about a plane. Like, people have rumored Apple TV for 10 years, and Apple's like, we're not in that type of business. So
maybe
we're working on the iPlane. We don't have time for that TV.
They do. They have the Apple TV, whatever it is, iPhone, Apple Watch.
Yeah, but not a actual TV. They have Apple TV. They have the set box.
Yeah, they had to. They had to get in on that thing.
The iTunes telling you to not number your podcast, it made me think of like Netflix. I noticed has taken away user reviews. Like you used to be able to read everyone's reviews. They got rid of that because I guess they don't want anybody making a judgment call based on what everybody's saying that's watching it. They just want you to watch it. And I'm like, but there's still reviews out there. Like, why would you take away that feature?
Right? It's like a step back.
Yeah, that's odd. They just want their algorithm to determine what's best for you.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
That's odd.
Kevin, thank you so much for talking to us. It's been a blast. Where can everybody find you?
Anytime. Follow Discover Pods on Twitter, Facebook, Discover_Pods. My name is Kevin_Goldberg on Twitter. Not very active on any other platform, but check us out. If you're into podcasts, come to the website, discoverpods.com. Nominate, this show, your favorite shows for the awards. The nominations end on the 26th.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Anytime, man. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Cool.